The medical information included in this podcast is provided as an educational resource only. Please consult your healthcare provider before making any healthcare decisions.
Fabry's does not define us. We define, we work together with it. We move ahead with Fabry's disease and sometimes with the symptoms.
Hi, everyone. Have you ever thought to yourself, my life isn't playing out the way that I thought it would? Maybe the way you hoped it would. You saw it going a bit different. I have a feeling most of you answered with a yes. And this is what we're talking about today. It's about grieving the life that you didn't have, which I think not only every Fabry patient, but every caregiver and also every human being has or will feel at one point in their life. Our guest today believes that no one should walk alone in life's journey, especially when they are feeling sick or in the midst of life struggles. He brings with him experience as an on-call chaplain at St. Mary's Hospital, and he has counseled those living with cancer, heart disease, and rare diseases as a spiritual care provider. Sam is passionate and honored to be invited into people's life stories, especially the hard and complicated ones. Sam was a guest lecturer on coping with disappointment at the University of Waterloo. He also studied clinical pastoral education and has his Master of Divinity and Christian Leadership. Sam, it is my honor to have you as a guest today.
Hello.
Hello.
It's glad to be here.
Yes, we're so glad to have you. And we saw you speak at the Montreal Patient Empowerment Meeting. And I guess my first question to you, Sam, is how did you get involved with the Fabry community?
Oh, I was very honored to be invited in that meeting, and it was lots of fun. I connected with Donna Strauss. And when I was at St. Mary's, that's how I connected with her. And she's part of the Fabry's Association. And so with that, she knew that I'm passionate and I'm very comfortable in speaking on this topic about how to cope and how to find hope in the midst of challenges. And so because of that, she invited me to participate in the patient meeting. And that's how I got involved with that.
We learned throughout your talk that there is something that both of our families share, and it's living with invisibility. Can you share a little bit about your story with invisibility?
Yes. I have 3 boys, and 2 of them are adopted. And they do have something called a fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. While the birth mom was pregnant with the boys, she was using alcohol. And so now when they are born, their brain is being affected. And however, from the outside, we couldn't tell that there's something wrong with them or there's something that is different about them. But when we go through testing and as well when we see the day-to-day behavior, there's certainly that, for example, they couldn't control the emotion. Just like Fabry's patients, when the pain comes, sometimes it's hard to know when, and sometimes it's hard to know when it stopped. But for my boys, it's just like that. From the outside, we cannot tell at all that they're just a little bit different. However, inside, when we live with them 24/7, we know that they carry invisible disability. And to me, that is so true compared to Fabry's patients. On the outside, maybe a lot of times that we couldn't tell what's going on, but those who are caregivers and those who have Fabry's know that they do have this invisible disability. And that is something that I can identify with Fabry's patients.
Absolutely. And that same feeling of, when things look okay on the outside, but they may be feeling very different on the inside.
Yes, it's very challenging because everybody think that my boys do react to a certain cue, do react to a normal school system. However, I would have to put a close eye on them. It's because there's certain things that can trigger their behavior, and then all of a sudden they react and respond very differently. And a lot of times that I feel like I have to go around and educating everybody and telling everybody what's going on. And I think a lot of times with Fabry's patients and even caregiver, they feel the same way. It's because on the outside, people cannot see what's going on. And so a lot of times that they will have to explain, that they have to educate other people. And I think that we have that call, so to speak. We have that responsibility because there's not that many people know what Fabry is. And so people like myself and like other people, we carry that call to go around and to educate people. And some do listen, that's great. And some do question, and some have no interest of that. But that does not discourage me, and I trust that all the other people with Fabry, not to discourage them, to go around and saying that, you know what, this is what we are going through. This is really true. And so these are our trigger, and this is what we are feeling. And you may not see that, you may not understand it, and you may not even feel that, but this is exactly what we're going through. So we ask them kindly to respect that, ask them kindly to extend grace, to extend understanding, because this is real.
Yeah, it is real. And I think you touched on some very important messages when we last spoke. And it's this question of when you are going through the hard, the really hard time in life, the really hard times in life, or when you're in the middle of a pain crisis. And let's say, for example, you're on the couch and you're feeling so hopeless. What strategies can we use in those hard times?
That's right. I think it's fair. First of all, I wanted to say that those who are going through Fabry, my heart really goes out to you, and for the caregivers as well. Second, particularly when those who are going through pain, and there are times that there are days that you just don't want to move forward, or the pain is so much. First of all, it's to really identify that. It's really say, you know what, I'm really having a crappy day today. This is really painful. Oh, this is really challenging. And I do not suggest that anybody to suppress that, to really push that aside, because I think that there's a value in really coming to that and saying that, yes, this is a really challenging time, and today particularly really challenged. And second, it's to be able to think that you are not going through this alone. Nobody is going through this alone. There's people that around the world is going through that, and it may not feel that way. I wish that I could create an app that everybody who has Fabry would be able to type it in the app and where they are, and then to signify using different color. Let's say green light, it's that they're not in pain. Yellow light, it's that they're getting over pain. And red light, it's that they're currently in pain. And they even have the time stamp saying that how long have they been in pain, so that we know that those who are going through that, knowing that they're not alone. I remember recently, I just had my gallbladder removed. And when I was in emergency, when I saw other people who was there, then all of a sudden I realized that I am not alone. Even though they can't do anything about it, the patient, and even though there are times that we just have to sit there, but you know that you are not going through that alone. And third, I called on people that really care about me. I called on Donna, I called on other people that know, that really care, and then so that they are able to step in. So it's very important knowing that you do not push that aside when you experience a pain. As a matter of fact, you need to identify and name that, yes, I'm in pain, and I'm in a lot of pain. Second thing, it's to be able to know that you are not alone. There's people who's going through that, and people's pain lasts for a while, and then they will get better. The pain will go away. That's what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. So that you know that you're not alone. And third, make sure that you grab hold of somebody that really believe in you, really can rally around you, that you called on them and let them know that this is what you're going through. And those are the three things that I think is very helpful for people who just come out in the morning and say, you know what, this is a crappy day. This is something challenging. And as well, make sure that you connect with Canadian Fabry's Association, because there's people like Julia, There's a lot of people that in there that really, really care. And as long as you know that this will go away at some point, you're not going through this alone. And as well that, yes, it's pain. Yes, this is happening. Then you will be able to have that hope and strength to continue to move forward. It may take a while, it may take a short while, a long while, but you know that there's hope and you know that you're not alone.
I think that's so important to know. And, when you said call on people that really care about you, I have a question about that because I think when you're going through something so hard, it's actually really hard to then ask for help. I don't know why that is. And maybe you could share, why that is. I think it's because then you feel like you're a burden and I think you've mentioned something in the past, it's very dangerous to struggle alone. Could you dive into that a little bit and explain, why it's so hard to reach out, but then why it's so important that we should always do that?
Yes. I think why is it so hard to reach out? It's because everywhere around us is focused on performance. The fittest survive. Everywhere around us is broadcasting that message that we got to have it all together. It's like when we don't have it all together, something is wrong with us. I think that is a very, very big lie. It's because we are all broken. We first have to come to a place that nobody is perfect. And if they appear to be perfect, I want to find out what's going on because I don't really believe in that. At some point, at somewhere, we'll go through something that help us to be a better people, better person. And so that's the first of all, it's to get rid of that belief in our mind. And the world is feeding us all these things. So there's a certain script in our brain that is telling us that we have to be perfect. We have to have it all together. We have to make sure that we're looking after ourselves. And that it's a double whammy that is making it very difficult for us to come and ask for help. So that's something that I think we need to replace it with that. There's people out there who is really, really believe in this and really want to be there and really want to help. And that's what it is we need to seek out those people that who really can rally around us, can really experience this and can really believe in us and can really, really provide the support. And there's people like that. There's people who really understand. So the first thing is why is it so hard is because the world is feeding us that message and we're believing it. Second, we keep going towards those people that who keep shutting the door. And for some reason, we just feel addicted. We just really need to prove it, whether it's to our boss, whether it's to our family or whoever, our good friends, that we have Fabry's disease and really need to prove it to them that this is real. And when we need help, we really need the acceptance and we really need them to come and rally around us. And for some strange reason, they just don't want to have anything to do with us or they want to fix us. That's the worst thing that they can do is they want to fix us or they say the most dumbest thing or the stupidest thing to try to help us to feel better. And actually, those are the people that we don't want to go to. Mm-hmm. And those are the things that is stopping us from coming to them. And that's why we don't want to open up. But the thing is that if we can open up to those who really understand, who really rally around us, then it will make a world of difference. It will make a world of difference. Just like my kids, I only talk to and share with people that who really get it, who really understand. And the other people, I share it, what's going on. I try to educate them, but at the same time, afterwards, I just move on to somebody that who really understand, who really not trying to fix me, who really try to really listen and be there and saying, what can we do for you? How can we help? How can we be a support to that? How can we be a listening ear? Those are the people that we wanted to open ourselves to.
Yeah, agreed. So find your people, find those people that understand and who live something very similar to what you live and what you experience.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, when we talk about grieving the life we didn't have, What are some things that we can say to ourselves when we're feeling this? And not that I think that it's also important to mention that two things can be true at once. We can grieve the life we didn't have, and some of those dreams that maybe we had look different, but we can also find happiness and joy and honor the lives we do have. What are some things maybe that we can say to ourselves when we're just feeling like this is just not what I wanted? This is just not the way I saw this going.
Yes, I think that's very important to first of all recognizing just how challenging it is. We all grow up and we all have this idea that we have a certain life that we need to have.
Yeah.
We need to be a certain people that we need, that our parents wants us to be, or our friends wants us to be. Otherwise, we may not receive the love that we can from our parents, or we may not receive the acceptance, or we may not feel belong. And everybody is trying to feel belong and try to feel accepted, so that we all try to be almost like a cookie cutter. We got to have a certain education. We got to be a certain way and talk a certain way. But I really, really wanted to encourage all the listeners, all the people who are watching. It's that you are unique and you are loved. You are loved for the way you are. You're unique and loved for the way you are. So first of all, we need to embrace the fact that what other people have and what other people we wanted it, and to acknowledge the fact that where we are at right now, it's very challenging. It's like going through a time of grief, knowing that, this is a life that I could have, or this is a life that I'm aspired to, but because of what happened, I cannot continue with that kind of lifestyle, or I cannot continue to aspire to that kind of life. I first think that we need to name that, whatever it is. So, for example, my kids, they really want a bicycle. And I would say to them, you know what, this is not going to happen in this Christmas. And they are going through a certain kind of a grief, even though it seems small, but nonetheless to them, that was very, very important. And for us, we need to come hold of that. Yes, we want a certain kind of life. We may not be able to have it. And we need to come to terms of that. Yes, it is difficult. Yes, it is challenging. And as a matter of fact, every Christmas or every special occasions, it will remind us of those things. And there may be people around us continue to remind us about the life that we could not have. And yet we need to come back to that and saying, yes, that's the life that is very difficult. And so there's nothing wrong with identifying with that. There's nothing wrong with coming to that terms of saying that we cannot have that. It's actually okay, because we are so resilient as a person, as human being. We're so resilient. And a lot of the times that we will continue to adapt and we'll be able to find what is called a new normal. It may look different, but nonetheless, it does not completely take our joy away. It does not completely take everything away. And as a matter of fact, we're so resilient that after we acknowledge that, and after we continue to go through a chance that we cannot come to terms of that, then we'll be able to see that there may be something that people do not recognize. A lot of us take things for granted, but now we can live a life that is really making it count. It's not so much about how long a life that makes it count. It's so much about the quality that makes it count. I would encourage us to celebrate the small victories. Like, let's say today we have very beautiful sunshine. Those are the small things that we celebrate. Those are the things that people take things for granted. Maybe a warmer weather, or maybe sometimes beautiful flowers, or some good smell, or sometimes hearing birds, or sometimes maybe able to have something that it's very satisfying. And so those are the things that actually help us to really treasure life and really living life the way that it's supposed to be. So I would say that, to sum it up, I would say acknowledge the life that you couldn't have. And as a matter of fact, grieve the life that we couldn't have. But at the same time, write out the life that you think that you couldn't have. Write it out down, write it down. And then write down what you celebrate, what we celebrate. What is the good things that come out in today, or in meeting somebody, or in talking with somebody. And remember that the reason why I want us to write it down, the good things, is because we're so easily forgetting about those good things. And I can confess myself, a lot of times that I forget. There's so much wonderful things that had happened, and they will happen again. But if I don't write it down, the next time that when I come across, I'm grieving the life that I could have. For example, I grieve the life that my kids can go to a normal school, or my kids can have what so-called normal, normal jobs or normal whatever, right? I grieve over that my kids can no longer respond to me a certain way that I would really want them to respond. I grieve over that. But let me tell you, every single time when my son come to me and gave me a hug and tell me, Daddy, I love you. Daddy, I really love you. That is the new normal that I have. During the day, they're going, bouncing off the wall, going different ways, or the school is getting upset or whatnot. Or friends and families, I just couldn't have them over Christmas or whatever. Or they can't stay up because it's a weekend or whatever. But every single time when I remember that he come to me and he just wrap his hands around me, his arms around me, and tell me how much he loves me, that's my new normal. And I grieve over the stuff that I couldn't have, my son could not be, and the challenges that I grieve over. I roll those things down, and I grieve over them. And at the same time, I'm so glad the new friends that I have that understand. Yeah. And there's so many people who are out there who's going through what you're going through. And they need somebody to come alongside and say, I got it. I get it. And there's things that to celebrate about that. We are stronger when we are together. And so that is something that we're able to seek out those people, like in patient meeting and different other aspects, and to come together and say, you know what? We are not as perfect. We are broken, as a matter of fact, but there's beauty coming out from that brokenness. There's beauty coming out from that ashes. There's beauty coming out all of that. And we're able to enjoy life to the fullness with the time. We're able to treasure it so much more. We don't plan too much ahead, but we're able to celebrate. And those are the things that I think it makes a better quality of life. It makes better life. It's the time and it's the quality of it. Hopefully that is just a little bit about grieving over that past and celebrating the small victory. And in those times, write it down. Put it in your pocket. Because there are times that I guarantee that we'll forget when we come, this is so painful, or this is so challenging, this is so discouraging. I'll say, no, bring it out. This is a smile that I received. This is a hug that I received. This is somebody that I would never be able to get to know if it is not because of my condition. And now I get to know the person, and now we're actually connecting, and we're spurring each other on. We're encouraging one another. And there's so many people around the world that needed that friend, and we could be that friend. We could be that encouragement to them, and they could be that encouragement to us. It goes both ways. We think that it's one way. We're getting it from them, or they're getting it from us. No, it goes both ways. And it's so exciting. It's so beautiful. And so that's what I would encourage us to do.
I love that. And I love writing it down. I think that is so important. It is easy to forget when you are feeling, like you said, discouraged and sad, and you're stuck and you're in pain. And when you think about what good has happened, maybe from having this, which can be really hard, that can be a hard thing to figure out in your mind. But I think about some of my favorite people I've met in my life have been because I have Fabry. And to me, I can write that down. I can keep that with me when I'm feeling upset and sad, and just remember that I can still feel those things, but I can also feel these things too. And I think that it's a good way to, or maybe a good narrative to have in my head.
I actually carry a little piece of paper. Sometimes I carry even a little booklet. And on them, it has phrases about what people appreciate about me. And then I would add my happy place on that booklet, on that piece of paper. And then I will also add something that you enjoy doing or you love doing. How does it work? It's that, let me give you an example. When I was in the hospital waiting for my gallbladder surgery, I couldn't have any food or coming out from the gallbladder surgery. Or during the gallbladder attack, it was very painful. And I'm sure that you can identify with it when you have pain in your body. And the attack, that's why it's an attack, because you don't know when they're going to attack you and how long is that going to be. What I do, it's that I took out that piece of paper. I think about my happy place. I think about after this, when I'm better, I'll be able to go to my happy place. Or I'll think about something that I like to do. I really, at that point, I really would like to have some really cold ice cream. So it's kind of like when you're crunching thirst, when you're very thirsty, you need something to crunch your thirst. When you're in pain, think about afterwards, where will you go in your happy place? What would you do? And think about something that afterwards that you can enjoy. And when you're in the midst of those pain, call out those people that support you, and at the same time, knowing that you're not going through it alone. I find it is very helpful when you have that piece of paper and thinking about it and visualizing it, and because at some point it will go away. I don't know how long, but at some point when those are going away, it gives you something to look forward to. It gives you something to do. It keep your mind occupied. And I think that's also important. And occupy in a way that is positive, not occupy in all those negative thoughts, but occupy who you're going to see, who is going to celebrate with you, who's going to give you a hug, who's going to give you a smile. Those things are important to occupy your mind with, and make sure that you don't go through this alone, because that is not right. Make sure that you find somebody or call on somebody or write to somebody. Even though when at that point you may not have somebody, write it down so that at some point you're able to, you can pass that on. I have people who actually may have nobody to share with. They write it, and next time when they see somebody that is the right person, they pass it on. So when you're in pain, you may, how can I encourage somebody in pain? There's no better way to encourage somebody when you really understand what you're going through. You may want it to occupy instead of being the receiving end, maybe being the giving end. During that time, write down, how am I going to encourage somebody when I'm in pain? How am I going to, what am I going to say to somebody if they're in pain? And next time, when you're in a patient meeting, you can pass it to somebody. Or maybe we'll do something that will collect all these, what are the best advice, what are the best thing to do, and we'll collect it, and afterwards we'll post it online, or we'll distribute it, and so that you can pull it out on your phone, you can put it out on your device, you can see that so-and-so, you know what, I'm going through this, and this is very painful, but yet this is what I think that somebody need to hear, because it will go away. And that's how we encourage one another.
I love that. And that we will do that. That is a great idea. I think there's something to be said about that moment that you're going through something and it's so hard that you're just stuck in your mind about, how do I get through the next couple minutes? How do I get through the next hour, the next week? And it's collectively knowing that there is a lot of people who have gone through this and going through this, that does bring some sort of comfort. And I think knowing how they moved past that, like you said, if you were able to have an app and see everybody in the green who is no longer experiencing that, but they were, there's power in that.
Before I forget, when I just think that
Yeah.
I remember when I was at the hospital and I was going through the pain, the
Mm-hmm.
attack. And then the next thing is I realized that you know what a waste. I'm going through this. And if I know that next time when I'm in a patient meeting or I can post it online or whatever, and I know that somebody who is going through the same thing, then then my pain is not wasted. Now when I'm in pain, I'm going to write it down to the next person, uh, what I would say to them to encourage them, so that you know that there's a purpose for your pain is not wasted. I don't know if there's any other purpose why we're going through pain,
Oh,
but at least we can use that for a better result, like for to encourage one another. So yeah,
yeah, it's a very beautiful thought. And thank you for sharing that with us, because we will do something with that. We will give our pain some purpose by helping the next person who goes through it. So, how Fabre affects the whole family, and really trying to figure out how, um, so I lost my dad to Fabre. My brother lost a dad to Fabre, and my mom lost her husband. So we know Fabre affects the whole family. I have Fabre as well. I want to shift and talk about caregivers a little bit and how their life looks different as well.
they do. First of all, I'm so sorry that uh, for those that, including your family, uh, that has lost somebody towards fibroid. Um, and and on the other hand, uh, as technology continue to improve, we're just hoping that during our time that we'll see a cure. And I know that there's doctors, professions who are working tirelessly to find the cure. So my heart goes out to you and to those that who have families or who has lost loved ones through fibroid, and as well whose families are going through fibroid. Second thing, for the caregiver, it is very, very challenging. Any caregiver would feel that, would understand that caring for somebody who has a need is challenging. So first of all, I would say that kudos to those that who are providing care. Second, it's to know that they are there not to fix the problem. Yes, there are chances that we may need a massage, or we may need a glass of water. We may need to drive to appointments. But at the same time, I would encourage caregiver to understand that we are there not to fix the problem, or not to fix fibroid, or not to fix anything. Maybe a small doses, but definitely not to fix. So that really take that load off our shoulder. Because sometimes as caregiver, we try to provide the best environment, we try to provide the best knowledge, we try to provide the best solution to make sure that the ones that we care, it's comfortable, it's happy, it's being looked after. And sometimes our identity tied to that how the person that we're caring for, based on their happiness, based on their pain level, we're saying that how successful we are as caregiver. I really, really wanted to release you today. If you are a caregiver, first of all, not to fix. Second, your identity, how good a person you are and how amazing you are, does not depend on the person that you're caring, how good a life or not they're living. We need to take that off. And it's easy for me to say, because when you're caring for somebody, and particularly your family, you want to provide the best. I wanted to reassure you, there's no question, if you're a caregiver, there's no question that you love the person. There's no question that you're making a lot of sacrifice. And there's no question that you are doing your best. So please do not feel guilt, or do not feel guilty in any way, whether the person is in whatever condition, because this is beyond all of us. This is beyond all of us. So make sure that you don't tie your identity into how successful the person that you're caring for. And third, you as caregivers, you need to look after yourself. Once again, I know it is very difficult to say. This is very difficult to do because I'm with my kids 24/7. I have two of them that are fetal alcohol, and then I have a biological one which has other issues. And when I'm with them 24/7, how can I trust that another person is going to take care of my kids? I wanted to let you know that we as caregivers really, really need to look after ourselves. I'm not saying that, we need to go for a big holiday, whatever that works. But maybe even in small doses, that you find way to bring joy in your life, that you can find way to bring celebration or hope, that you find way to find these small victories in your life, in our lives. Because those are the little things that is actually give us the strength, give us a boost to be even better caregiver. Because this is a marathon. Some of us is a marathon. Some caregivers, this is a long haul. Some may be a short term. But however long or however short, I would encourage us that we will have these little breaks. If you're running a sprint, afterwards you will have a break. If you're running a marathon, you will really need to have these water breaks. Right? You need to get water, and sometimes we may not be able to get that water, so to speak, get that break, and we'll need other people to come alongside. And there are times that we may need people to come alongside to take the run. I know that people run 24 hours marathon, and so what they do is that they run for 24 hours, and then they have like a dozen people or so that during the time that they're running to run with them, so that they make sure that they know that they're eating or they're drinking water, and particularly at night, they're not falling asleep while they're running. And sometimes we're like that as caregiver. We run with somebody, and then we're carrying somebody. But then there's going to be a time that we may be the first one who run with the person, and then we stop, and then the second one will come along, and then we'll go back to that when the person is need to switch. So I would encourage us that if we as caregivers do not have any plan, do not have somebody in place, or do not have somebody, some plan in the future to just even have that small break, like a TV or like a nice bath or shower or whatever it is, I would encourage us to just put a little bit, just a little bit, like even enough to go for a coffee or enough to be to do something like that. And if there is not, I would encourage you to connect with the Canadian Fibrous Association, find resources that will have that, so that the goal is not like saying that you're not good enough or you can't do that. The goal is not to say that that you're failing. None of that. The goal is that so that you can continue to be a better caregiver, to come back and continue to provide the care. And so those are very important pieces. Not to allow your identity to tie to that, not to allow your identity to tie in that. So your success is not tied to that, or your failure is not tied to that. And as well, celebrate a small victory, and knowing that there's somebody out there who's going through similar thing, and make sure that there's some short-term stuff that you can celebrate. You can take little breaks for that. And as well, when you pass on your care during your time, it's not like you don't love the person. And sometimes patient may think that, or the person that you're caring for thinking that. I myself thinking that, well, if I take a break, how can somebody look at me? How can other people think that maybe my kids think that I don't love them? No, that is not true. It means that we can provide better care. It means that we're able to be more free to provide that care. So that it's so important. Your identity, your success is not tied into how your patient respond, how your person is caring to that. That is very, very key. And so that when you care, you're not fixing, As a matter of fact, I would encourage us when we provide care, practical side or being there. We are when we are not fixing. What is mean by that is that we're actually being there. Being there, the power of presence is so important. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. Sometimes we can't say anything. Sometimes we just can't fix anything. Because when a person is going through pain, what can we do? Is there a painkiller? Is there something else? Is there massage? Sometimes we can't really completely get rid of whatever that is the person is going through. But what we can do is the power of presence. It's to know, first of all, I want us to be able to validate. It's to be able to acknowledge, yes, I see that this is what you're going through, and it is very, very difficult. And I think a lot of times it's very important to differentiate, because sometimes when people are in pain, they can say stuff that they don't mean. They can do things that they don't really mean. It's because they're in such a difficult situation. And we as caregivers cannot take those things personal. It is very, very difficult, but that's not what their intention. That's not what their heart. It's just that when pain kicks in, when something kicked in, people will just do things that is not normal. And we need to understand that we need to validate. We need to acknowledge, yes, I can see that you're in this situation. Validation. Second thing is to empathize. Empathize is a saying that, yeah, I really, my heart really goes out to you. Yes, I can't really do anything, but I really can see that you are in a lot of pain, or this is a very difficult situation. So validating, emphasizing, and then finally, when they come out of that, or when they're in a little bit more calm or cohesive or whatever it is, then you can maybe set some healthy boundaries. Hey, maybe next time when this happens, I'll give you a book that you can write, or I'll give you something to draw. Or maybe it's better that you don't say those words, because that's not helping anybody. So those are the three things: validating, empathizing, and setting healthy limits. And so that as caregivers, we will be able to be the best that we can for ourselves and for others. And we'll be able to continue to love the people that we're caring. And we'll continue to have the strength to build up the inner strength to be able to regulate our emotion, so that we don't fall into these identity or these hurtful words, or those times, so that at the end of the day, we can continue to provide the care our loved ones need. Otherwise, we're like, oh, we can't continue to go, or we'll feel bad because, oh, we just cannot provide. No, I want everybody to be a great caregiver, as strong as we can be, as loving as we can be, and but we also need to look after ourselves in those small doses. And we need to ask for help. Please voice it out. Make sure that we voice it out. We need help. We voice it out. We don't just stuff it ourselves. We need to find somewhere that we can voice it out. There's a healthy place to do that. So those are the couple things that I could think of. Hopefully that would be useful.
Yeah, absolutely useful. And I think you mentioned before too that, the importance of the patient connecting and talking to the caregiver about and properly expressing what they do need, because that does two things. One, they're not carrying that alone. And two, then they can understand better. And then when they understand better, they can help more. And maybe just that connection just becomes richer overall.
For patients and also for caregiver, life no longer be the same. And this is something that I think we all need to come to grasp with. We all need to grieve over. And at the same time, I want us to be reminded that Fabry's disease or any kind of condition that we are faced, it's not all of life. Sometimes we think that like that's all of life. Yes, Fabry's disease or any kind, it touches on so many parts of our lives, whether you are a patient or whether you are a caregiver. It touches on almost all part of life. It touches on so many other areas. But I want to encourage us that even though it seems that way, it's not all part of our lives. It's all of life. So our identity do not tie in like, yes, Fabry define who we are, or Fabry define we as patient, or Fabry define we as caregiver. I don't want us to think that Fabry's disease have the final say, define who we are. There's so many part of life. Sometimes it may need to take a little bit of work. It may need to take a little bit of digging to find out there's other parts of life that Fabry's does not touch on. There's other parts of life that Fabry's has no control of, that is ours, that we own it, and that we have control over it. And so those are the things that I think that even our life no longer be the same, that Fabry's does not define us. We define, we work together with it. We move ahead with Fabry's disease, and sometimes with the symptoms. Most of the time, maybe it's just invisible, but we are the one that define that. We are the one that who has that control, even though sometimes we may not feel that way. So that our mind started to, like, it's like anything. Sometimes, oh, this is, we have the flu, and that defines us, and we wear masks and we do all kinds of stuff. But please do not let that define us. It's so important. And so that, yes, we have that, that's not easy. As a matter of fact, that's challenging. That's, we have to have the vaccine, we have to have the mask, that's very inconvenient. Yes, we acknowledge that. But that does not mean that we are the flu. That does not mean that we are what it is. No, we're not. We're more than that. We're capable of love. We're capable of hope. We're capable of producing and doing something that is beautiful. We're capable in so much more. And I just wanted to encourage us to think that way. Because our brain can continue to feed this. We're defined by our appointments. We're defined by the medication that we take. We're defined by our bank accounts. We're defined by all those things. We're defined by our limitations. No, we're not. No, we're not. We are affected by it. And it affects a lot of our lives, yes. But we're not defined by it. We're much more beautiful than that. We're much more capable than that. And even though we're, at some point, you may feel that, I'm not capable, I'm not. But don't undersell yourself. Be kind to yourself. Don't undersell yourself. Don't think that, because of that, then I'm not capable of bringing beauty to that. No, that's not true. Being who we are and embracing whatever it is, and when people see that, when other people see that we are a broken human being, it's okay. It's okay. There's strength in that. There's strength in that. Sometimes we help other people, but sometimes we need to let other people to help us. It's good for them. It's good for them to be able to help other people. So don't think that we got to do everything ourselves and that define who we are and so that's no. That's just only a small part of it. And sometimes it could be big. It really feels big sometimes. But that does not define all of it.
Yes. So great and so well said. We're not defined by it, but we're affected by it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sam, you said a lot of important messages today. Is there one final thing you want to share with us? I
think one thing that I would really encourage us, all of us, whether you are a caregiver or whether you are a Fabry's patient, and whatever extent that we are in, it's to be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. 3 words, very easy to remember. Be kind to yourself. As patient, we can put a lot of the stuff on our own because we want to be independent. We want a certain image, and we could be very harsh towards ourselves. We could be pushing ourselves very much. And then for caregivers, the same way. We could be very harsh, or other people can be very harsh to us. But I wanted to, once again, be kind to yourself. No matter where you are, what you are going through, be kind to yourself. Do something, be kind to yourself. I can't emphasize enough, because if you are not being kind to yourself, it's hard for people to be kind to you. And if I'm not being kind to myself, it's hard for people to be kind to me. What I'm trying to say is that it's my responsibility to be kind to myself. Whether people kind to me or not out there, it's great if they're being kind to me. It's wonderful. I'm expecting that people to be kind to me. It's great. That's great. But if the bottom line is, if nobody being kind to me, it's my responsibility to be kind to myself. I need to speak positive to myself. I need to speak love to myself. I need to speak health to myself, and I need to be kind to myself. And then I can educate other people how to be kind to one another. Because sometimes we could be in very toxic situation. Maybe because after COVID, who knows what's going on. But if I'm being kind to myself, I'm educating, I'm strengthening myself, and I'm also educating other people how to be kind to one another. We are stronger together. We are stronger together. And let's do it. We are stronger when we're kind to ourselves. We're stronger when we're kind to one another. And so that hopefully one day there will be a cure, and this will be eradicated. And we can continue to cheer and spur one another on. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that I get to share this with you. Hopefully this will be helpful. Hopefully there's something that is encouraging to you, and hopefully this will be helpful to all those who are watching and listening.
Thank you, Sam. You are a beautiful human being, and you have so much good to share. This is absolutely helpful. It's so important to not do this alone. I want to echo, I think the most profound part of this conversation today is what you said is sometimes, we don't want to bother other people, but please do, because you don't have to suffer alone. Thank you so much for everything today.
You're welcome. And I hope that at some of these patient meetings, I would get to meet some of you, and maybe you can come up and say, hey, I have listened to that, or I've watched that. I would be very happy to hear and to meet. It will be my honor. It will be my honor. Thank you so much for this time.
Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode and for being part of the RARE community. You can follow the Canadian Fabry Association on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and visit us on our website, FabryCanada.com. And of course, if you haven't yet, subscribe to this podcast. We'll see you next time. Keep listening, keep learning, and be rare, be you.